Hi soulmates, welcome back to the class. So in today's class I'll be taking you on the process of how to cut and sew this trendy Bubu dress with deep V neckline with Asoke Pockets. So if that sounds like what you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned and watch to the end. First thing first, you're going to fold your fabric into four, which you can see me doing here. So I folded my fabric into four. So we're going to be cutting the front and the back together. So to know the amount of fabric to fold, you're going to divide your shoulder measurement by 2 plus your sleeve allowance. So that is exactly what I did here. So at the top here, I'm going to go in by a quarter of my shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. So from there I'll be adding my sleeve length. So my sleeve length is 14.5, but because I'll be adding a Asoke of 2.5 inches, I will deduct that from the sleeve length, so I'll be left with 12 inches. So I'll add extra half an inch for the joining allowance. So total here I have 12.5 inches, so which you can see there. I'll be completing that with Asoke. So at the end here, I'm going to come down, as you can see, by 1 inch as our shoulder slope. All right, so after that, at the edge here, I'll go in by 3 inches as the neck width. So you can determine how wide you want your neckline to be. Then after that, I'll go ahead and connect the shoulder slope back to the neck width. Next is to get our sleeve opening. So from the shoulder slope, I'll come down by 9 inches as my sleeve opening plus 1 inch for stitching allowance. That will be making it 10 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark it down. So for the sleeve opening, you can actually determine how wide you want it to be. So for mine, I'm okay with the 10 inches I have here. So after getting that, I'm going to extend my lines across my fabric, just as you can see me doing. So you're going to put your tape like so and make it as a straight line, and this line you see here is going to be serving as our new chest line, right? Next is to finish up our neck depth. So from the shoulder here, you're going to put your tape and come down by 8 inches, which is going to be serving as the front neck depth. So for the back neck depth, I'll be using 11.5 for the back neck depth, because the back neck depth is way deeper than the front. So I'll go ahead and mark 11.5 for that. Then after that, I'll connect the neck width to the front neck depth and also do the same thing for the back. Next is to get our round body measurement. So you're going to divide your biggest round body measurement, which might be hip or your bust. So I'll go ahead and divide my hip by 4. I'll put that down. Then I'll be adding extra 5 to 6 inches of sewing allowance and ease allowance. Then I'll also go ahead and mark it down, but you can determine how wide you want your own to be, depends on how free you want it. Then after that, I'll extend it down to the full length of my dress. So before I forget, the full length of my dress is, I'll be using the total length of 60 inches, which is the length of the fabric. So I'll be using the whole 60 inches. So after doing this, the next thing is to go ahead and curve our armhole. Just give it a slight curve, just like so. Next is to cut our dress. So you're going to start cutting from the front neck depth, just as I'm pointing. So guys, if you watch to this point and you find this video helpful, do not forget to like this video, drop me a sweet comment. You can as well share with family and friends. And if today is your first time of seeing my channel, kindly hit on the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell to get notified each time I upload a new tutorial. Next is to cut the back neck depth, and for you to do so, you're going to separate your front from the back, just as you can see me doing. You're going to remove one of the piece, which is going to be serving as the front, just as you can see. Then you're going to refold this one to cut the back neck depth. So guys, as you are cutting, do not forget to keep the first pieces you cut out from the neck, because you are going to be needing the measurement to fix the strap at the back of your dress. Guys, this is what you should have after cutting. So this is our front part here. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to hem the neckline. So I went ahead to cut out a facing for my neckline. It's just a mini version of my neckline. So I'm also gonna head to iron a facing on it. So I used hairstay. So the next thing is to go ahead and place it on the neckline like so. So we're going to be stitching it with 1/2 inch. All right, here is the back panel, and this is what it is looking like. So guys, I want you guys to pay attention very well on this back panel. So we're going to be stitching the neckline, and here is the facing for it. I've also done the same thing I did on the front. So you're going to place it right side facing each other. So this is where I want you to pay attention, guys. So because the back is going to have a strap, we are going to be stitching it a bit different. From the top of the fabric here, I'm going to mark 1 inch. I'm going to come down by 1 inch. So from that 1 inch, I'll measure another 1 inch. So the second 1 inch is going to be serving as the opening for our strap. I'm going to start stitching from the up and stop at the 1 inch we marked, then start at the place you see me pointing and repeat the same thing on the other side. I'll do that now, then I'll be back to show you what it looks like. I'm done stitching up the neckline, and this is what it is looking like. So this is our front panel, and I've also gone ahead to finish it up with my hemming. Put this aside for us to work on the back part of our dress. Here is our back panel, and this is what it is looking like. As you can see here, this is the opening I left for our strap, and I also do the same thing on this side, just as you can see. So the next thing now is to go ahead and cut this strap. So for us to cut this strap, we are going to measure what we have here. So remember the pieces we cut out from the neckline. So we are going to measure what we have at the up here. So here I have 6 inches. So there is something I'm going to be explaining to you guys on this video. Like, it's not everybody is going to tell you that. So I got 6 inches for my length, but I'm going to be adding extra 1 inch to help my strap relax at the back, and I'm also going to add another extra 1 inch for my stitching allowance. So the total length of my strap is going to be 8 inches plus the stitching allowance, and the width of my strap is going to be 1.5 inches on fold, then stitch it with 1/2 inch. Here is my strap. I've gone ahead to cut out my strap, and the length here is 8 inches, just as you can see here, and the width is 1 inch. So for us to insert our strap, you're going to open up your neckline like so. So the opening we left earlier, I'm going to insert my strap in between like so, then hold it from the back and pin it down. So after holding it down with your pin, you're going to stitch it down just as shown. Then you're also going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So this is what you should have after stitching your strap. Next is to stitch our front and our back together. So you're going to place it right side facing each other. So to stitch the shoulder, you are going to pick up the back facing and use it to cover the front, just as shown. Then go ahead and stitch it with 1/2 inch. So I'll also repeat the same thing on this side. Next is to cut out Asoke for our sleeve hem, and for you to do that, you're going to open up the shoulder like so. So you're going to measure what you have on your sleeve hem. So I'll go ahead and do that. So here I have 18 inches. So I'll be using that length to cut on my Asoke, and I'll be needing 2 pieces of it for my both sleeve. So the width of my Asoke here is 3 inches. So after stitching with 1/2 inch, I'll end up with 2.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and pick one of my Asoke, just as you see me doing. So I'm going to be placing it on my sleeve hem, just as shown. Then I will go ahead and stitch it down with 1/2 inch. Then I will also repeat the same thing on the other side. I've went ahead to fit my Asoke on my sleeve hem, and it is looking so beautiful already. So next is to cut our pocket, and to do so I've gone ahead to prepare one of my pocket, as you can see, and it's looking so beautiful. So I'll be using the other one to explain to you on how I go about this one. So I've went ahead to cut out these pieces of Asoke measuring 26 inches by length. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to go ahead and fold that into two. Make sure that all the lines are lines on each other properly, so that when you sew your pocket, all the lines is going to match properly. Then after that, I'll go ahead and hold it down with my pins, just as you can see me doing. So after pinning it down, the next thing you're going to be doing is to go ahead and put a triangular line on your Asoke. After that, you're going to take it over to your machine and run a stitches on it. When you open it, this is what you should have. So the next thing is to go ahead and cut off the little excess at the back of it, just as you can see me doing. So then after that, you're going to open up the seam. You're going to open the back of it and press down the same line, so that it's going to help it to relax very well. After that, go ahead and trim off the little excess you are seeing. Then the next thing we are going to be doing is to cut the length of our pocket. So from the tip here, I'll place my tape from the side and go up by 10 inches. So I'll be using 10 inches as the length of my pocket. So I'll also repeat the same thing on this side too. Then after that, I'll go ahead and connect that in a straight line. After getting your lines, the next thing you're going to do is to go ahead and fold inward, just as you can see me doing here. So you're going to fold it inward like so, then go ahead and give it a good press. Next is to go ahead and trim off the little excess you're seeing on the both sides. So after trimming off the excess, I'll go ahead and flip it to the wrong side, then trim off the rough edges as you can see me doing. Then after that, I'll go ahead and fold in 1/2 inch, just like so. Then I will give it a really good press just to help it stay in place. Then after that, I'll go ahead and use my hemming gum to hold it down. Here is our pocket looking so beautiful. So the next thing we're going to be doing now is to go ahead and stitch it on the front part of our dress. And for you to do that, from the shoulder line, I'm going to come down by my half length, which is 17 inches. Then I'll go ahead and mark it down. I'll also repeat the same thing on the other side. Next is to get the middle of your dress. So you're going to put your tape across your front part like so, then mark the middle point, just as you see me doing. Then also connect a straight line on your half length, just as shown. So from the middle of your dress, you're going to mark 2.5 inches on both sides, just as you can see me doing. So on that 2.5 inches, that is the place you're going to be fixing your pocket. So I'll go ahead and pick one of my pockets and place it just as you can see me doing. Then I'll go ahead and run a stitches on it. Then I'll also repeat the same thing on the other side, just as you can see me doing, right? I am done stitching my pockets, and this is what they are looking like. So I'll go ahead now and turn my dress to the wrong side to stitch the both side. So for me to do that, I'll go ahead and stitch from the sleeve hem down to the full length of my dress. Then I will also repeat the same thing on this side, and also hem the down part of my dress. I'll go ahead and fold in with small allowance. Then I'll be back to show you what next to do. I am done stitching the two sides of my dress, and it is looking so neat and very beautiful. And I've also gone ahead to hem the down part. So the next thing and the last thing we are going to be doing now is to cut the bow at the back of our dress. I went ahead to cut out these pieces for our bow, and the width here is 15 inches while the length is 23 inches. You're going to fold it into two, then stitch it down. You're going to run a stitches on it. So this is what you should have after stitching. The next thing is to go ahead and turn it inside out. After turning, you're going to give it a good press, making sure that the same line is at the middle of it. Then after that, you're going to go ahead and fold it again into two. So you're going to be stitching that up, run a stitches on it, then also go ahead and iron the same line. And you can as well weave the rough edges just to give it a neat look. Then after that, you're going to turn it inside out just as so, then give it a good press. So you're also going to make sure that this stitches line is at the middle of your fabric. Then after that, I'll go ahead and print my bow just as shown. Then I'm going to be using these tiny pieces of fabric to hold it down. Here is our bow. So I'm going to be fixing the bow at the back of our dress with this needle and thread you see me holding. So I'll go ahead and tack it down, and that's basically all for the making of this dress. I'll go ahead and put it on the manicure to show you the final look of our dress. So guys, here is the final look of our dress, looking so beautiful. Like everything came out so neat and beautiful, as you can see by yourself. So if this video was helpful, do not forget to like this video, comment, and also share with your family and friends. I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye.